All right, let's talk about tech rivalries. They're legendary, right? But what if I told you two of the biggest foes on the planet just cut a deal that's going to completely change the phone in your pocket? Today, we're breaking down the shocking new alliance between Apple and Google.
So let's just get right into it. Why would Apple, a company that has built its entire brand on being a fortress of privacy and doing everything in-house, suddenly cut a check for $1 billion to Google, its #1 competitor?
Yep, it's exactly what it sounds like. Siri, the voice assistant we've all kind of learned to live with, is getting a full-on brain transplant, and the surgeon is its biggest rival. So that brings us to our first section. I mean, this is a truly surprising alliance. We're talking about two giants who are usually at each other's throats suddenly becoming partners. It's kind of wild.
The pressure on Apple, man, it was immense. And it wasn't just from outside competitors. We're talking about their own investors, people like Ross Gerber, who are literally on social media saying things like, "Kill Siri, ask Gemini." Can you imagine? That is some serious heat.
And this right here, this slide, just lays it all out. It shows you the huge gap Apple is scrambling to close. On one side, you've got the Siri we all know. Good for setting a timer, maybe, but ask it a follow-up question, forget it. You hit a brick wall. On the other side, that's modern AI. And that's exactly what Apple is now paying Google for. So, what's the price tag for playing catch-up in the AI race? Let's get into the numbers, because Apple really had to dig deep into its pockets for this one. And we're not talking about a one-and-done payment. This is $1 billion a year. It's basically Apple admitting, hey, for right now, your tech is so much better than ours that we're willing to pay you a fortune just to rent it. And this is what they're getting for that $1 billion. 1.2 times trillion parameters. Now, what does that even mean? Well, you can think of parameters as the little connections inside an AI's brain. The more you have, the smarter and more capable it is. So yeah, the engine inside your next iPhone is about to get a serious horsepower upgrade. Now, here's the really slick part of this deal. You're never going to see "powered by Google" on your iPhone. Nope. Unlike the Safari search bar where it's obvious, this is a total stealth operation. Apple is treating Google like any other component supplier, like the company that makes their camera sensor. They're just a part, invisible to you. Okay, so what is Apple actually buying for all that cash? What makes this Gemini AI from Google so special that Apple would swallow its pride and partner with a rival? Well, you heard it straight from Google's CEO. Gemini is supposedly the best at multimodal understanding. That's a fancy word, but what it really means is that this AI can understand way more than just text. You can show it a picture, ask it about a video, maybe even have it look at a piece of code. It's a massive leap. And here's what that actually looks like for you. These are the 4 big upgrades you can expect from this new supercharged Siri. You'll be able to have a real conversation with it, with follow-up questions. It'll handle complex stuff across different apps. You could say, "Find my photos from last weekend," pick the best one, and text it to mom, and it'll just do it. But of course, Apple knows what you're thinking. Wait, my data is going to Google? So they're leaning hard on their classic privacy-first playbook. They're promising that, yeah, complex questions will go to the Gemini model, but it's all going to run on Apple's own secure servers, keeping your personal data completely walled off. So, if Apple is so obsessed with privacy and control, why even do this deal in the first place? Well, it boils down to one simple, unavoidable truth. Apple is playing catch-up in this massive AI arms race. And this table really puts the whole battlefield into perspective. You've got Google, which controls everything. You've got OpenAI, which became a household name overnight with ChatGPT. Apple's big advantage has always been its incredible ecosystem, but their own AI just wasn't there yet. So this deal is a pragmatic, maybe even humbling, move to stay in the game. But as this race for bigger, more powerful AI just gets more intense, you're starting to hear some leaders raise the alarm. Microsoft's AI chief is basically saying that this goal of creating a superintelligence shouldn't be the goal at all. It should be an anti-goal. A pretty stark warning while everyone else is pushing for more power. So what happens next? Let's look down the road, because this deal, as huge as it is, definitely has an expiration date. Think of it less like a marriage and more like a very, very expensive rental. This timeline lays it all out pretty clearly. The Gemini integration is just a bridge. It's meant to get Apple from point A, announcing their AI ambitions, to point B, which is when their own in-house tech is finally ready to compete, probably sometime in late 2026.
And that's the real takeaway here. Make no mistake, Apple's end goal is to rip out the Google engine and drop in their own. They're using Google's tech to power the car while they finish building their own engine in the garage. The second Apple's model is good enough, this billion-dollar-a-year deal is toast.
And that leaves us with the billion-dollar question, the one that's going to define the next few years of our digital lives. Apple built its entire empire on privacy and control. So, can it really trust its biggest rival with its brain? Is this a genius strategic move, or a deal with the devil that puts the very soul of the iPhone in the hands of its greatest competitor? We're about to find out.
Thanks for watching. Before your Wi-Fi drops, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Stay sharp, stay curious, and keep guarding the trends.